Hello to everybody. This is a further strat of my Fermi presentation is an extreme synthetic view of what is contained in the model and in the experiment to substantiate the model itself. So let's think to something very simple. The beginning of everything on the theoretical point of view, a new way of construing physics. What do we have? We have electromagnetic forces. Those are related to the weak forces by an already consolidated model, that is the standard model. Those are as well related via the Higgs boson to the strong forces, and as well the Higgs create the third liaison to between strong and weak forces. So which is really missing is the connection between electromagnetic and gravitational forces. This model proposed to find this link via a quantum approach to gravity. This quantum approach is leading to an interaction term where Kgm is a coefficient constant of coupling constant. K for GEM is the acronym for gravito-electromagnetic, and the two forces in terms of electromagnetic of tensors of rank 2 tensors. One is the electromagnetic tensor. Let's have a pointer here. One is the electromagnetic tensor. One is the energy momentum tensor due to gravitational fields. Are correlated together, are coupled together by a propagator that is the graviton propagator. So the quantum, for this reason, the quantum approach to gravity. Where the full story starts from simple observation of the deflection of light, and we shall see later radio frequencies concerning the deflection of electromagnetic radiation. So what we have here is that with respect to the 1.75 narsec theoretical expectation value, we have the average value of deflection as well, if could be contained within the errors, but we have that the values that we find here are all above the theoretical expectation value. Also, if we consider one other sets of data, so those captured by microwave technology, gathering deflections of radio signals measured between 69 and 70, we have that the same deflection results all above the theoretical expectation value, but a little bit less than those due to light. So it seems that electromagnetic radiation is always deflected, and this deflection is above the theoretical expectation value, but also that this deflection depends on frequency. So what we have, what we can establish as a model, this, that we have as a leading order the Newtonian mechanics that is not violated, that is not reinvented, that is not recreated by a relativistic, by relativistic theories, by general relativity. Simply, the general relativity as this u cube, u at third power is because we are considering here the dynamics of massless particles like photons. General relativity, we're saying, adds a next to leading order term that is the correction of general relativity to Newtonian mechanics. This is, as we were saying, the famous result due to the correction of general relativity. But what we have to expect now, because of the extra deflection, the bias in the deflection we observed in the slide, in the former slide, we have via Graviton conjecture, a new model that established on based on a quantum approach to gravity. This interaction tower, again, we find the Kaplan constant K jam, based on this correlation propagator, the graviton propagator, that couples together electromagnetic tensor, so electromagnetic forces, and energy momentum tensors due to a given gravitational field. That is what comes from gravity. Then this is the next to leading order correction that we have to expect from the quantum correction, so from the quantum approach to gravity. In practical, what we need of to construe this experiment. We need of a tunable gamma ray source, that is the one providing the source, the radiation to be deflected, and an opportune gravitational field, that is an opportune mass that will determine the gravitational field, the gravitational action that in our model, in the experiment we have conceived, will deflect, because of an interaction, a true interaction, electromagnetic radiation. The gamma ray source is represented by the d gamma decay process that is checked by the LHC experiment. So clearly, all this proposal is based on particle accelerator. Clearly, the CERN is providing one of the best accelerators available worldwide, but every other accelerator could be suitable to realize this experiment. In detail, we have this kind of process for which collecting hadrons, let's have a pointer. Collecting hadrons, we have by gluon fusion the production of an X, that is after that by W boson fusion and W boson decay, providing two gamma rays. So we have a tunable source of gamma rays in the sense that modifying tuning the energy of collision of the hadrons, of the initial hadrons, so we have a tunable energy for the gamma rays produced by the process. In particular, which is the concept of the experiment, is to let undergo gamma ray radiation to a gravitational field represented by a depleted uranium bar. Practically, we'll consider an equivalent for the theoretical approach, an equivalent scheme based on this mass concentrated in a single point. So the same approach we use for light deflection rays in the sun, in which again radiation will undergoes the gravitational field due to this, can say, punctiform mass, to provide this deflection at target screen. The possible location, as we're saying, the LHC-b experiment at CERN. This experiment is based on a circular ring, accelerating ring, where there are 2 points. One is this point, RF, and the future experiment that is available for future realization. The other one is the experiment LHC-b itself. In practically, this facility has CERN grant a ring of 27 kilometers girth, with corresponding to a length that will be the possible interaction length of the GEM experiment of 8,594 kilometers, based on these 2 nodes. The hardware of the experiment, the block scheme of the experiment is this one, and I will just comment the hardware characteristics and the more relevant aspects, inviting those that will be interested in more details on the experiment and its realization to refer to the book. Anyway, we have the system based on a dual equipment line that will interconnect the lower world and upper world. At the lower world, we find a section of gathering or gamma rays with the diaphragm, injecting gamma radiation to a dozen sections that are, solutioned by 9 units of 9 vacuum chamber that will provide to maintain vacuum in the pipe, in the interaction pipe. A magnifying system that will let us get radiation up to deflection up to 1 picometers, so to a level that will be possible detected by a glass tracker working in conjunction with a stand detector that will produce gamma rays and that will let gamma rays to be detected by a BF image and a DF image, so that send will be sent up to two central units controlled by two I/O consoles for maintenance purposes that will elaborate data and will present deflections to a suite where there will be an operational monitor and the maintenance monitor used for system maintenance. Here we go with a very detail of the interaction section. So we have the radiation, the gamma rays, transiting to the interaction section, and so being undergoing the interaction with the gravitational field represented by the rolling DU bar, depleted uranium bar, that will spread to 3060 degrees, the effect of a possible deflation due to interaction between the electromagnetic and gravitational forces. In the tail, referring to the Pounder-Rogba experiment, we shall have some details in the next slide that we shall just skip, but just to observe that due to a gimmick to overpose a low frequency, an audio frequency, to the gravitational shift, to the frequency of the gravitational shift, they realized not a quantifiable effect of the superposition, but a modification of the present scenario for which they were sure that some gravitational shift was happening. So the same happens for our experiment. Just in case we would be not capable to quantify the experiment, just a modification of the crown due to the deflection of the rays correlated to a variation of the interaction of the energy of the interaction of the hadrons at the collider ring will be an indiscussable proof of the validity of the model. That is, the experiment will confirm the validity of the quantum approach to gravity, and so the sustainability of the fact that there is actually an interaction between electromagnetic and gravitational forces. Just for your information, and the entire experiment is under patent issued by the Ministero delle Imprese and Made in Italy, and this is just to grant the intellectual property liability of the entire project. Finally, some reference about what have been discussed so far. A reference to the book that details everything that's been said, a much longer video, 2 hours and a quarter, that fully described what have been synthesized here, and my email reference for an handout to the presentation, clarification, the questions, whichever. So really hope to see you soon. Thanks for your attention and cheers.